Hello everyone, my name is Christopher Liam Rose. I'm an author, mentor, life coach, motivational speaker, evangelist, musician, activist. Now, this is the final audio for the series My Life is Like a Story Volume 3, and this becomes the most important topic to discuss within the series. Now, in this audio, we're going to be talking about the no self, no I. Now, this is very important in faith and spirituality, right? So, the no self is when there's no more self. You're not living your life with the self, the I. You've transcended the self and the I to go through a spiritual change, which helps you to discover the no self and selflessness, the no I. Now, within life, a lot of people, like I said previously in the other audio, go through the process of the self and the I because they never go through a spiritual change to discover the no self and the no I. Now, in faith and spirituality, this is what Jesus Christ, Jehovah and Buddha wants us to do as human beings. They want us to go through the process of spiritual change and discover the no self, selflessness, and the no I. No I means no self. No I means no more self. No I means know thyself, because it's important we get this. When you go through a spiritual change within your life, you know thyself, you know who you are. You understand your life experiences, your suffering, your pains, your adversities, your challenges, your difficulties. You learn about yourself. You gain spiritual knowledge and spiritual wisdom. You understand life experiences. You understand your spiritual life purpose and your spiritual calling. So everything that's important in life comes with the no self and no I. If you don't have an understanding of the no self and no I, you'll always live the self and the I. And this is what at the moment within society and within the world today, this is how millions and billions of people are living their life. They're always living their life, the self and the I, because they never spiritually change or transcend the self, the I, into the no self and no I. Now, it's important to realize that no one can teach you this, right? It can't be taught to you by another human being. So let's just get that clear. This is something you have to discover within yourself. Each human being has to discover it within themselves. The no self and no I. This is something that comes from a spiritual change. The spiritual change, like I discussed before, comes with the 5 spiritual practices. If you do the 5 spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, mindfulness, walking, journaling, go on the journey of doing the 5 spiritual practices, then you discover the no self and selflessness. Now the question in life is this: what do you do when you discover the no self and selflessness? What do you really do? What is meant to be your life once you discover that? How are you meant to live your life? Because we're not living our life from the self and the I anymore. We've transcended that. We're not focused on our challenges, our life experiences and the difficulties we face. We've transcended all of that. We're not focused on these are the things I've gone through, these are the situations I've faced, because you've transcended all of that. So what do you do? Which is a very important question once you discover the no self and selflessness. And it's a very important question that I want to share in this audio. What do you do? It goes to the 5 levels of helping other people. And people talk about this and they don't really understand what it's all about. So they say 5 levels of helping other people. What is that? I'm going to explain it. So there's 5 levels of helping other people which you need to do once you've overcome the self and the I, gone through a process of spiritual change. Once you've gone through the process of spiritual change, then you discover the no self, selflessness and no I. And these 5 levels of helping other people is how you make your difference. It's how you live your spiritual legacy now. It's how your life transcends from thinking about yourself, your suffering, your pain, your adversity, your challenges, into the no self and selflessness. So this is very important. So the 5 levels of helping other people. Level 1, volunteering and helping other people, the good level in helping other people. Level 2, jobs, careers and employment, the great level in helping other people. Level 3, business and entrepreneurship, the highest level in helping other people. Level 4, faith and spiritual, the spiritual levels in helping other people. And level number 5, which is the most important level, spiritually helping other people who helping other people, the teaching level in helping other people. So what Jesus Christ, Jehovah and Buddha wants us to do is go for a spiritual change. Nothing in life changes unless you go through a spiritual change. I'm just going to repeat that again. Nothing in your life changes unless you go through a spiritual change. And a spiritual change is what I discussed in the previous audio. A spiritual change within your psyche and your psychological mind. So if you don't go through a spiritual change within your psyche and your psychological mind, you'll always live the self, which is the I, which is me, I, my mentality. But if you transcend all that, if you look past the self, if you go through a spiritual change, do the 5 spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, mindfulness, walking and journaling. Once you've gone through the process of spiritual change, it has to happen for every human being. They have to discover that. Then do the 5 levels of helping other people, volunteering, jobs, careers, employment, business, entrepreneurship, faith and spiritual, and then spiritually helping other people who are helping other people. So this is basically the life lessons, right? It's basically the life lessons. Now, there's something I need to say before we finish, and I'm just going to say it in this audio. Sometimes the most important spiritual change you will go through is the spiritual change within yourself. I'm going to repeat that again because it's so important. Sometimes in the life, the most important spiritual change you're going to go through is the spiritual change within yourself. You can't tell another person how they are going to spiritually change. You can't put your perception on a person for them to do it. It goes back to what I just said. The most important spiritual change that you're going to go through is the spiritual change within yourself. If you discover the spiritual change within yourself, which I've always called the light within yourself, there's a light that needs to shine. I'm not saying you can't just it's difficult because a lot of people find this difficult. I'm not saying that you haven't gone through the life experience you've gone through. You probably have. I'm not saying that you haven't gone through difficult times. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's a way of transcending all of that. There's a way of finding spiritual freedom and spiritual liberation. You can only find spiritual freedom and spiritual liberation once you go through a spiritual change. So the spiritual change becomes the most important thing in life. It's not just something you do just for the sake of doing it. It's something you do within your life. If you don't go through the spiritual change within your life, then you live the life of the self, the I, the me, my, I. And if you live your life like that, that's what your life becomes. If you change your life, if you go through a spiritual change, discover the light within yourself, do the 5 spiritual practices, prayer, meditation, mindfulness, walking and journaling. Then, once you've gone through a spiritual change, found your faith in your spirituality, and it's very important to find your spiritual life purpose and your spiritual calling in life. When you found that, then do the 5 levels of helping other people, volunteering, jobs, careers, employment, business, entrepreneurship, faith and spiritual, and then the 5th level, spiritually helping other people who are helping other people. That's the light within yourself, and each human being needs to go on that journey. You can't tell a human being how they're going to do it in their own journey, because this is what makes it unique. The spiritual change is unique to every individual. Some people find it younger, some people find it when they're older. There's no age, there's no definition, there's no title to it, there's no destination to it. All I'm saying is you have to go through a spiritual change if you want to help other people, give back and make a difference. That is the spiritual change. It's not it's not like it's got nothing to do with like material things or money or success or prosperity or riches. That's the spiritual change within yourself. Find the light within yourself, which is normally through spiritual change. Then the light within yourself can be the source of inspiration to others, and that light within yourself will shine every day of your life. And the most important thing about the no self, the no I, and spiritual change and selflessness, this is what you will learn once you've discovered it. You will help other people every single day. So every single day you'll be making a difference. Not because someone told you to make a difference, because you found the light within yourself. That light within yourself is the source of inspiration. It's the source of your spirituality and your faith, and it's the source of life. Creation comes to those people who go through the no self, spiritual change, and selflessness to discover who they are. When they discover who they are, they're leaving a spiritual legacy behind. Because I don't want to confuse the subject just now, but life is always moving into the future, right? Every single day, every minute, hour, week, month, year is moving into the future. So the important thing to learn with this no self and spiritual change and selflessness is you need to spiritually change now. It needs to happen in your life now. The people that have gone through the spiritual change can only encourage it and inspire it. But the individuals will have to go through it themselves. And this is something someone cannot teach you that. You can get help, you can get support, you can get guidance, of course. That's very helpful for people that have gone through that, of course. But you have to discover it within yourself. It's like if you've gone through trauma, suffering, pain and adversity, and just life experiences that haven't been, good to deal with. I know this is for millions and billions of people in the world. I really get it, I really understand it, and I know how you feel. I know, life hasn't treated you fairly, life hasn't been there for you, but Jesus Christ, Jehovah and Buddha is always in life. It's just you need to discover it. When you discover the no self and selflessness, which is the spiritual change, then you find, I've said this before just briefly, the spiritual energy. Spiritual energy has nothing to do with anything. It's a spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is the light within yourself. When you find the light within yourself, you have spiritual energy. What is spiritual energy? The spiritual freedom and the spiritual liberation to live your spiritual life purpose and your spiritual calling on earth. That is what spiritual energy is. You live your spiritual life purpose and your spiritual calling on earth. A human being needs to discover that. That's the secret of it. You have to discover that. Find it within your life. Go through a spiritual change. Do the 5 spiritual practices. Once you've done the 5 spiritual practices, once you've changed, then do the 5 levels of helping other people, and then your light will shine. So I know this is a very difficult subject, and I know it'll take a lot of people to learn this, but just remember, the no self and selflessness comes to those people that have gone through a spiritual change. Their psyche and their psychological mind has changed. And when your psyche and your psychological mind changes, you focus your life on helping others. That means no more self, no more I, knowing thyself, understanding yourself. Once you've done that, then you can live your spiritual legacy now. The most important thing, and I'm always aware of this when I share and make content and in my books, my videos, and whatever I do for others, the most important thing is, which is this: the spiritual contributions become more important than anything else. I didn't say just the contributions, that's not what I said. I said the spiritual contributions become more important than anything else. The only way you can make spiritual contributions is when you've gone through a spiritual change, and that's the change of your life. If your life doesn't change, then you'll live to suffering, pain and adversities within your life. But if you decide and choose to go for a spiritual change, then you'll find the light within yourself. So I hope this message inspires somebody today. I hope someone feels that no matter what they've been through in life, the suffering, the pain, the circumstances, the challenges, the disappointments, the struggles, that they can find the light within themselves. They can find something that's very important for them. And what Jesus Christ, Jehovah and Buddha wants us to do is go through a spiritual change. So it's like I've been saying in this audio. The spiritual change becomes the most important thing. Life involves change. I'm just going to repeat it just at the end. Life involves change. You have got to change if you want your life to change. Okay, that's the end of the series. Just 3 audios for the series. And thank you for listening now. Take care now. Bye bye now. Thanks.